Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelled Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, episode 5 of Ahsoka. We're going to cover it today and to show this momentous occasion, to give it the gravity that it deserves, according to some. We've got a full deck here, so we're going to go around the room. Catherine, hello, how's it going?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Matthew Mohl, how you going, buddy?
So good, buddy. I'm the Catherine Kneen of Ahsoka.
and first time this season, hasn't been on since probably London, I don't think. Matthew Turbo Thurbon, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me back. I think it was one of the blog pods, maybe, Celebration London.
A pub somewhere
in, Hackney,
yeah.
I think.
Did you see that Rolling Stones launched their record in Hackney, Turbo?
Yes, I did, yeah.
We would have walked right past that. They didn't do it at the Dolphin, unfortunately. There's a local reference for it, but they did it at the Hackney Empire, which was very close to where we were. So that was quite cool. Very cool to see that. But we're not here to talk about the Rolling Stones.
Definitely not.
We're here to talk Ahsoka. Episode 5 came in. Oh my god! If you listen to some people, you think it's the second coming or something. But we're gonna get into it in a bit more.
Disney's finest hour.
We're gonna have to rein this bloke in. Finally, he talks into his microphone.
I think he's talking a bit too much into his mic.
Yeah, I think I'm getting some serious spiking here, but that's okay. We can fix that in post.
You need a spit guard, I think.
I have one.
He needs a muzzle. He needs to sit behind a drum, one of those drum protectors or something. But yeah, what was this episode called? Shadow Warrior?
Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Dancing? Andy Gibb. Everybody remember that song? Surely you do, Turbo. I'm going to make more music references because you're on, and I've got somebody will get them. The other two I would just get blank stares. But you're here, so I can indulge in that. What did we clock at this week, Matt? Matt Mohl? I'm going to just call you Matt. Every time I say Matt, I'm talking to you, Matt, and I'll just call Turbo, just for the train spotters out there.
47 minutes and 3 of credits. 50.
I thought it was 51, but I could be wrong.
I don't count the Ukrainian subtitles. Okay.
Oh, the other thing is, does the recap count in the time as well?
I skip the recaps because I don't want any indication of what's going to happen.
I don't want to be pre-spoiled because they usually do give it
pre-spoiled little hints.
I don't want to be pre-spoiled on the thing. I mean, I was very wary of spoilers this week, so I got in as much as I could.
Yeah, for Mando, I thought the recaps gave a lot away. I don't think Ahsoka's been as bad with that.
Yeah.
So
it's a fairly linear story, I guess. So there's not really any sort of curveballs, I don't think, so far. So,
and obviously,
no callbacks
directed
yet.
by Diamond Dave himself. He came back, and geez, they went all out on this. They do like special screening, like cinema screenings and stuff this week as well. And
12 cinemas in America.
Only
12.
Friend of the show, Mark Perez, went to one of them.
Really?
Yeah, and he said there was a bit of yelling and screaming and so on and so forth. I mean, that's the thing. Australia is now on the arse end of that. I think we probably, in another time, we probably might have done that because we would have been at the optimal cinema viewing time, and now we're at the worst optimal cinema viewing time.
But we're not at the worst time, Josh. I mean, at noon, I can text you and go, seen it? And you're like, I finished 10 minutes ago. So, and then we have all day to chat about it and stew and percolate.
I'm just looking at my work calendar and it's always full. So
I have to work around having my early lunch basically to do it. Catherine, I know you don't have that luxury.
No, I've just finished teaching year 10s and then I'm about to go on to year 12s. So that's, my time.
It is tempting to watch it
every period.
I probably could watch it. I probably could squeeze it in, but I'm in a mode where my family's actually enjoying it, so I want to watch it with them first time. So think of the family.
Did you rustle the turbos tonight because you knew you were coming on here tonight? Going, all right, guys, we've got to be sat down by 7:30.
I did, and then one of the major problems we have now when we watch stuff as a family is Chewie comes in and just starts barking. He doesn't want us to enjoy any TV at all. So
right.
4 of us sat down. We lasted about 5 minutes. Chewie just barked his head off, and then my wife and Toby had to just go off and take Chewie somewhere else. So it was just down to me and Luke for this screening.
Right.
But it was a good half of a family
You'll
viewing, I guess.
You'll get to do the encore with them later on, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, this episode does pick up where it left off last week. Ahsoka's fallen off the cliff. The hyperspace ring is shot off into space. Oh, also, before I go any further, somebody said that I don't ask for 5-star reviews enough on this podcast. So if you are listening, do a 5-star review. That'd be really nice so people can listen. I always forget to do that. But no, the hyperspace ring does shoot off in there. Nobody knows where Sabine's gone. Nobody knows where Ahsoka is, but Hera has turned up just outside the nick of time. What's the opposite of the nick of time?
Too late.
Sneak.
The snick of time.
Late.
Big snick to the slips.
Yep.
Snicko.
And so she's shown up just after it's too late to basically to influence anything, and she's looking around for Ahsoka and Sabine, and quite sad finds the Tenet 1000 kind of sulking behind a rock.
They never listen.
That was
It
very.
wasn't sulking.
They should have stayed together.
He was
That's
pretty
not
crestfallen, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was a bit of a sigh. He was sighing.
Yes. Yes. Not sulking, but sighing and crestfallen and very, very sad. And don't make my David Tennant sad.
He's very emotive sort of eye sockets he has too. They sort of animate his emotions with the eyes quite well. He's got sort of LED eyes. You can get a little bit of emotion there. So that was a little bit upsetting. But I don't like seeing that droid sad.
It was quite funny. My friend Michael, he said for a split second before they sort of turned the corner, he thought it might have been Mando just from the side because it was all shiny.
Oh, no.
And he's like, "What?" And then
if they did walked around thinking he's, I would have been like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" Like, what? I would have felt like Hawes when Mando took those episodes off of Boba Fett. I would have.
We've been Filoni'd again.
I know, and he double Filoni, and he does a completely tangent Mandalorian episode with Grogu, and then there's just no Anakin or no anything. Oh, that would have been hilarious. Everyone goes to the cinema, and they're all just outraged.
Episode 5 is always just another Mando episode, no matter what TV show.
I kind of half expected Ahsoka to have sort of, crawled up the side of the rocks and was sort of just lying there, like, either. I know that they would have gone back into the, into her mind, the world between worlds, or whatever. But I thought maybe she was just on this, like she dragged herself up and just passed out or something. But just because it would seem weird that she would have been floating in the water, underwater all that time. But
she's just meditating underwater. Jedi meditation. She doesn't need oxygen. It's fine.
But I mean, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon put those like things in their mouths as soon as they went underwater.
Maybe those Togrutas, they breathe.
Maybe.
You can explain it any way you like.
Maybe. I never considered
sleeping underwater.
That's very true. So, yeah, essentially, Ahsoka is still in the world between worlds. She goes down, she picks up where she left off, and there he is, ready to have a little chin wag. Is Anakin Skywalker? Well, is this Anakin Skywalker? That's the question. I mean, it looks like him. It walks like a duck. It talks like a tuck. But I don't think it's any connection to the Anakin Skywalker that died. I don't think it's Ghost Anakin Skywalker. I think it's a manifestation of her memories of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the dark side cave. Sort of, you see what you see what you want to see, really.
Yeah,
so
you're taking what you bring with you.
Yeah, but he's not going, I'm giving you the information about what's going on with me at the moment and where I am post becoming a Force ghost.
No, I'm glad there's no sort of time travel elements and he's trapped there or something. It's actually...
It's just a representation of her...
sequence.
It's just a representation of her guilt and her angst, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was always saying that, she never got to finish her training, and obviously that was something she probably wanted to do or, always complains about.
Yeah. So, it's like the stories or that how you see depictions of near-death experiences, how you might see visions of people who like in Neighbours, Paul Robinson was close to death. Who came to him close to death?
Anakin
Jim
Skywalker.
Robinson. Jim Robinson, Alan Dale, in a little like Christmas decoration.
God, that's too.
Wow.
Like, Still Saunders was going on about Neighbours today,
Neighbours
this week
reference.
on social media.
Weirdest
as well.
crossover ever.
I know, it's like,
Look on Amazon Prime and you will see like a few of the later seasons of Neighbours, but also from the first few years, like the most iconic 1,000 episodes or something.
oof.
Like, not all of them. All of them apparently are on a YouTube channel. But yeah, you can go back and see Charlene's entrance into Erinsborough. I want to go back. Take me back.
I'll wait for the Star Wars Explained 10-minute
to-
breakdown of
yeah.
the first 1,000 episodes of Neighbours.
You can do Neighbours spelt out.
Oh yeah, that's the spin.
hustle.
There's the spin-off.
Can't wait for the Neighbours World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
That's Bouncer's dream. So we've been there on Neighbours.
That's it. I got that reference gif right there. Matt, what do you think? Are you in agreement of that's what Anakin Skywalker is, or are you thinking that that's something else?
I agree somewhat. I mean, because it's a sort of like a dream, but there are little snippets of things that he says that she wouldn't have been a privy to. Like, if you take it in context, like later on when she goes, "I will not fight you," and he says, "I've heard that before." He's referencing Luke and Vader on the Death Star. She wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like, it's him, but it's not him as well. Like, I don't know. Like, he knows all of his conscience being and all of his stuff, but for her to just sort of manifest him, but then also have all the context that she wouldn't have been a privy to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I agree. It's not all in her head, but what it is it's elements of it is. That's the time travel element, right? So it's echoing parts of what Vader said, all in that one space. So that's the time travel element.
Yeah, I think it's a manifestation of the history of Anakin and Vader, but I still think the being of Anakin Skywalker, as in the one that died and then became a ghost, is a separate thing. Like, that's not them. They're not telling you what they're up to today. You're not going to them for advice, which is, a somewhat clever way of dancing around the questions of, well, where was he? Why wouldn't he, come to people like Kylo Ren or Luke for that matter, or anything like that? And
there's no logs either. Like for a Force Ghost to sit down on a log.
Yeah, that's right. Because Alec Guinness wouldn't bother. He's like, I'm not standing up. I'm just going to wear this skivvy from the waist up, and then I'm just going to. And now I'll have my $5 million, please, or whatever he got to go in. But he looked great. The de-aging was the best they've had in this Star Wars thing.
I'd say it was near faultless. Like, it was a bit weird seeing it last week because you kind of focused on that one shot and it was a bit blurry.
But it was also the spacey,
a bit overdone.
Yeah, but also the world that he was in was a very sort of woozy and blurry and blue and kind of, which I think made it look more like it had gone through some sort of like phone filter or something.
Well, I think they did, Filoni did it on purpose. They made him look a bit cartoony, shiny and porcelain skin, but also massive fake out on the lightsaber, making it dark at the bottom. People going ballistic. Oh, whose lightsaber's that all week? And then this week, bang, Anakin's lightsaber. Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I maybe I'm stupid or something. I never actually guessed or pictured that they would ever fight. I thought they were just gonna be in the world between worlds and just like have a chat. Yeah,
and I think this
I
is
never predicted they would ever fight.
And
wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good episode, but I felt it was kind of not pointless, but it didn't advance the plot. And the whole point I wanted of Anakin to serve was that he was tied intrinsically to the plot of this story and to the other characters. And I thought the fact that they had Balin as a guy who knew him could tie in really well, because ultimately she falls off the cliff and she ends up back out of the cliff, and maybe she's managed to let go some of her angst about her guilt about Anakin, but even that isn't really set up previously as well. Like, we all know it because we've seen the shows and the cartoons and everything, but there isn't really a hint that she's carrying that weight of it all this time, particularly anyway.
She does seem lighter
At
So
the end, she
after they
does. Yeah,
fight-
she
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And whiter.
Oh, more Gandalfy.
Yeah. How is it? Well, just a detour. When she wakes up and she hasn't got the little head thing on.
I know.
How
I
weird
thought,
is that?
I thought she
Yeah.
looked like an unpainted highway. I'm like, what's going on? Why does she
never
look so
really-
weird?
I'd
Did
have-
makeup fuck up or something? And then I was like,
The
oh,
question is, what is that headband? Like they look at little headphones as well.
Is it just like
I've
her
never really
Beats,
noticed
her
the
Beats by
headband
Dre?
It's,
but I've never really noticed the headband until it's
came
not
off.
there and it looks weird.
I don't know
yeah,
whether
it's
there's
like, it serves a real purpose of, it helps us with the blend lines. We
Yeah.
can't do it properly.
it covers her
Yeah.
enormous weird forehead. That's what it does.
But there must be stacks of her species that don't have them in other, like maybe that Trials of the Jedi one. I'll have to go back and have a
Yeah.
look at it. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in a cartoon you can just do a straight line and it doesn't really matter. Also, just a detour, just a very slightly. We'll get back to where we were on here, but at the start, anybody think it was weird that Hera took a comlink out of her out of the front of her trousers? Go back and rewatch that. So when she gets up the sting and she does the comlink to
I did
speak
notice
to,
that, yeah.
she just reaches into the front of her trousers and pulls her comlink out because she hasn't got any pockets, and then she just stuffs it back down the front like she's a
She needs a utility
like she's a
belt
girl
or
like she's a
something,
girl
you
in a
know?
nightclub putting her phone in her bra or something like that. It just seems so weird, and I couldn't get past it. It was like the only thing I could think about.
Maybe those flight pants have like a little jeans pocket.
But
thing,
why
you
would
know,
she
you
just
know?
have a little magnetic thing on it? It just seems so weird that she just like pulled it out the front of her dax. But anyway,
Yeah, I try to only buy clothing with pockets. And if it doesn't have pockets, then I end up not wearing them.
she's such a practical lady. It just seems very
I know.
strange. Like maybe her good trousers were in the wash and she's just gone, oh, all right, well, I've got to put my phone somewhere. I'm just going to stick it down my pants. Anybody else
We've
write in?
all
If
done
anybody
it.
else thought that was weird, write in. But yeah, look, I didn't think that it was sort of earned. I mean, I like that the memories and all that kind of stuff, and ultimately it seemed to be that she had to choose to let go the angst and realize that it wasn't her fault and sort of defeat that thing that was hanging over her. But I would have liked it to be more intrinsic to the plot. That's just me. And also, the other thing I didn't also like was that they went out of their way to not include Tamara Morrison by like literally putting like a cloth over a dead clone's face and not,
They had his voice, right?
I know, but it felt like they could have Captain Rex the helmet off and really given him a moment to do that. But that was
definitely looked like Rex, didn't it? Or
yeah,
at
it was
least had
definitely
the-
Rex. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 100% Rex, and Tem is in the credits as well.
Oh no, I'm definitely sure it was his voice, but I thought when they kind of had the clone on the ground dying, and they literally put a cloth over his face, I'm like, that just seems a little budget, guys. Like, come on, like throw Tem a bone.
Yeah. At least do one. I didn't expect them to see heaps of clone helmets off Tem, but they could have done one, even if he was very much, having the wounds of battle on his face to hide the de-aging. Do it. Come on, throw
They
us
used
a
all the
bone.
budget on Hayden. Just move on.
but back to your point about you wanted it to advance the plot. I'm glad they didn't for this because I'm glad it was more of a dream sequence than advancing the plot or having any plot interactions because I didn't want to have different parts of the World Between Worlds interact with the plot at all. Like, no, because then people would argue about, oh, that's impossible because you're reaching into another world or something.
I didn't necessarily
like
mean
the
ring
fact
each
that it
other
was-
word. I just meant that Anakin's presence in this show was tied to, because they've literally got a character who knew him at the, you've got Balin that and you could tie that. We just don't know much about him, what his goal is. And then you can make it personal between Ahsoka and him and Balin in a way that Anakin is connected intrinsically. And then there was an opportunity to get some kind of information out of him or a reason for him to exist, to talk. I mean, you could have done, and then it would be a part of that story. I mean, this was sort of, and this was really just literally about her falling off a cliff and then confronting Anakin / Vader and basically not giving into his nonsense and not killing him and then kind of letting go that I don't
See,
know.
when you
Guilt.
put it like yes, but it was just so good.
It was
Like,
cool. Don't get me
Also,
wrong. It
it's-
was so cool. It was
character
cool.
development for her. I mean, she's walked away from Anakin. She walked away from Sabine. Now she's got the closure from Anakin. Maybe she can take that into her training with Sabine.
Oh yeah,
so
no,
much.
we know all of that, but I think a casual viewer wouldn't understand that, and I don't think it was. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't need to be telegraphed, but the fact that she was carrying that, I don't think really was at
The casual
forefront.
viewers going, "Why the fuck is the space whale flying?"
Yeah, I know that, but I don't know. But I mean, that was cool too. But
That was cool.
But yeah, I mean, they have the fight on the thing, and they're going at it, and him he's moving and lightsaber and like it's 19. I'm gonna say 1999. That's not right.
1999.
Like it's 2005.
Is Hayden Christensen the best lightsaber choreography actor there is? He just
he's really.
he is so
and
good.
He was doing the Darth Vader hacks as well, like the
But how
smashes.
good was the one where he's the stupid move where they sort of like lines it up, but he made it was so good.
That was cool.
It was It was 2002, 2005 again. The Olympics is finished.
The only negative thing I had is that occasionally Anakin goes in. I can hear the Canadian in his voice.
His
Previously,
voice is too deep now.
His voice is too old,
That's not the
especially
deepness, but it sounds. I hear some Canadianisms there.
You're saying you too many of your boots. It was like you're watching Degrassi
No,
or
it
something.
Ahsoka, yes, I am, eh?
But in the prequels, he sounded American to me. Like there was no hint of any Canadian. But now I think he's been sort of living on a farm somewhere.
He's gone rural.
He's gone rural, and I think the Canadian has come back to his voice.
His voice was too.
Anyway, that just threw me out.
His voice did sound too. I mean, when they do the second flashback, or the one where he's basically during the Clone Wars, and you've got younger Ahsoka, his voice sounded too deep.
Too
and gruff.
deep.
He wasn't. He sounded more weathered and not as cocky as he probably needed to. But he did a pretty good. You know, as someone who's never actually played Anakin at that time period, he got a pretty good approximation. But he did seem a little more. He didn't quite seem. The voice seemed young
As
enough.
sprightly as he was.
The voice didn't match the youngness because the face was pretty much flawless, as we've said. But
they had two. Like they had, slightly older Anakin, and then Clone Wars Anakin. It was just phenomenal.
Did you think his little his Clone Wars little armor thing looked weird? Like it kind of sat weird on his shoulder. Like
it looked a bit metally, didn't it? It looked a little bit like
I never
heavy set.
Thought that it wasn't metal. Maybe it was metal. I don't know.
Shoulder pads.
It looked a
Big
bit,
shoulder pads.
Yeah, but like straight
gridirony.
Like he was Judge Dredd or something. Like they were really sort of like gridirony. Yeah.
Gridiron.
That's
NFL
American
season.
football for the Americans. That's what we call it because for the Americans playing at home. Yeah, and I thought so it wasn't the girl from House of Dragon, Matt, who played younger Ahsoka. She nailed it as well. Although I thought she would have been older between the time jump between the first time we saw her and the second time. She seemed a little too young for that Siege of Mandalore bit.
Yeah.
I thought she would have aged up. Like I almost would have got another actor in between to be. Because what is she? 14 in Clone Wars, and then I guess 16.
Well, she's only 16 in that, so like
17,
but I still think
17
he
and
could
a
have
push.
aged a little bit more. But she did a great job. She encapsulated.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying with that, but I'd rather they stick with the same younger actress for those two bits, and just show her aging in different ways, like in the outfit.
I mean, you can see the way she
so forth
talks and the way she fights as well. Yeah. So who was she, Matt? You were saying that she was the girl who played Little Gamora in Avengers. Is that correct?
So it's Ariana Greenblatt. She played Little
Ariana
Gamora
Grande.
in Little Gamora in Infinity War, but also she was the daughter of in the Meet Rose and Barbie movie as well. So she's high profile these days.
She was the daughter in the Barbie movie.
Yeah. So the one Ugly Betty's daughter.
Oh,
Haven't seen it.
Oh, when
Haven't
she's
seen it
younger
either.
though, because she's like 16 in that movie.
What?
Barbie, the daughter, is like a 16, 17-year-old in
Yeah,
the
that's
Barbie.
yeah, that's her.
Really? Oh, I thought that she was
Anyway, this is not Barbie spelled out.
Sorry,
Come on.
Sorry,
God, we're gonna do neighbours spelled out.
It's
Then we're
neighbours
gonna do-
spelled out.
Then
It's
we're going to
Ramsey
do Barbie
spelled out.
spelled out. God, I ought to get some more staff.
Avengers spelled out.
Yeah, exactly. And she did. Yeah, she did a great job. She really sort of encapsulated Ahsoka quite well, and it was cool. Live action Clone Wars. It was so dusty. I never really thought it's so weird because the cartoons always feel so, especially the early episodes, just feel. I don't know.
Well, I'm not sure yet. I'll wait for Alex to confirm, but I'm pretty sure that was the Battle of Ryloth they were on in the Clone Wars, because there was all the Twi'leks in the background, and that was why it's so dusty and stuff. And then obviously the second one was Siege of Mandalore, where she absolutely nailed it. Her movement was insane.
Was anybody else waiting for Darth Maul? I honestly
Yes.
thought they were going to show Darth Maul. Like, they can't help themselves. They're going to do it.
I feel like Filoni took some notes and some feedback from the Book of Boba Fett, where he did 7 to 9 cameos of fan service, and he sort of just dialed it down for this one. I mean, we got Rex, we got Ahsoka, we got young Ahsoka, got Hayden, but it was quality over quantity.
But yeah, I was semi waiting for Darth Maul to show up. Now, thing is, I'm also doing a Battlestar Galactica rewatch. So Sam Witwer is on that, is Crash Down. And so every time he's on the screen in that, I'm just Kenobi. So just want to hear it one more time.
Waiting for him to come back. I still think it. In my head, I knew coming into this that they were going to do a flashback. We obviously all suspected that was what they were going to do. I actually thought it was going to be a lot closer to the cartoon, as far as I thought it would be a lot more prequel-y looking and big leaps off buildings, and I thought it would be a little bit more over the top. I actually wasn't expecting a down and dirty sort of. This felt really good, but it still felt like it was kind of on a TV budget with a lot of dust around and lights on dust and probably just shut on a volume. I don't know, in my head I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be this huge big sort of prequel-y looking thing, but it was still sort of boots on the ground. You have to go back and watch the Mandalore bit, but even that seemed like there was sort of a lot of smoke and light kind of just going off in the background.
I'm pretty sure that's just how they sort of volumize it.
Absolutely. I just think that was with this, Filoni's doing live action Clone Wars, but he's still doing it on a TV budget on the volume. Nice to see some
they're
real
making
clones, though.
they're making the volume look less volumey. I got to say, you could tell Kenobi was heavy volume. This one, Andor was all sets. Don't worry, Catherine. And
real sets, practical effects.
But no, it's so good.
I think they're figuring out the volume more and more. Each time they use it, they figure out how to, as you say, make it look less volumey, to hide the seams, as it were. So they did actually use it on Andor for Mon Mothma's apartment. So they built the sets within there, but they had, the big windows. That was all the volume.
So I wonder if it's just the volume also getting bigger, so it looks more like there's more depth.
But I think also that
they built 3 or 4 of them now. They probably got bigger, literally bigger. Yeah. So the depth of the practical set is further back,
and they can probably actually just do more stuff blow more smoke and sand and dirt around because it's bigger. So you actually get that elements of real stuff going around. But we'll have to wait for the Disney galleries that. Disney Galleries Ahsoka, the making of Ahsoka, whatever they'll call it. So essentially,
that will come out before Andor.
Yeah, they're waiting. It'll happen, Catherine. So they're effectively, we haven't really talked about what happens, but Ahsoka plunges through the floor in the world between worlds and finds herself waking up as a Padawan learner in the middle of her first.
I really like that transition
where she sort of fell through the thing.
Well. How she landed and she was adult Ahsoka, and then she sort of turned around and then it was young Ahsoka. But it wasn't I've described that very badly.
It was a morph, like it was the black or white video or something.
No, but it was clearly Rosario, and then there was a change, and it was younger Ahsoka. I really liked how they did that. I thought that was really effective to get that change.
Yeah, but when she hit sand, the first thing I thought was Tatooine. Here we go again. I was
Welcome back, everybody.
No.
and then I saw the clone troopers, and it was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, yeah. So she effectively is living her first real battle, and she's obviously got her reservations about it, and sort of seeing the cost of it, and Anakin try to getting her to toughen up and sort of accept it, but also sort of he kind of makes a joke, and she's like, "Well, this isn't really the time for that." It's like, "Hey, man, you got to get through this somehow." And then we sort of cross back to her later, and she's someone who's a lot more hardened, I think, from the experience. And then you kind of go, oh yeah, it's weird because Anakin sort of shows up and he wasn't there, and he's just sort of going, oh, this looks like it was kind of tough. This is sort of the moment. This is around the moment where he turns to the dark side.
Yeah, and I did like also how they flashed between Anakin and Vader. I thought that was very effective.
Yeah,
and they did the transitions on his face also, and yeah,
and the voice as well. The Vader's voice came in and out as well.
Yeah. The sort of while this is going on topside, they're still the X-wings are there with Hera, and they're basically trying to see if they can find Sabine or Ahsoka, and Jason Syndulla comes to the front, starts hanging out on the edge of the ledge, and starts hearing some shenanigans going on under the water, basically, I guess, tapping into the Force movements. And did everybody catch the Princess Leia mention in there as well?
Yep.
Senator Organa, yes.
It took me a second because I listened, I'm like, isn't Bail Organa dead? And then I went, oh, duh. Like, of course it's Leia. Like, of course they're referring to Leia. I did think that when they, at the very end, the fleet sort of turns up, I'm going, oh, would he dare put Leia in at this stage to sort of come down the thing? But it was kind of nice to hear that she's sort of, she's senatoring, but she seems to be in the corner of Hera, basically, as well.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they'll show
Yeah,
her?
I liked all of that. And Hera trusting in Jason's hearing it. Now, do we think Hera heard it at the last bit, or it was just her trusting Jason, or Jason helping Hera hear it? What do we think?
I think it was just trust. I think she knows that he's got something.
Yeah, so I think it was just, I'll stand
feel
with you if
things,
this
yeah.
helps you, if you feel like you're being supported in this. And also, I'm out of options, I'm out of ideas, so we've got to do something. There's a very nice moment actually where he discovers, like, he kind of goes, all right, we think we know where she is. Let's get in the ships. And God, I've forgotten his name. Carson. They basically explained to him, going, "Oh, her dad was a Jedi. His dad was a Jedi, and he said something." He just goes, "Okay,
Fair enough.
Fair enough. That's not the craziest thing I've heard today. I'm just going to run with it, basically." I did like that.
Yeah, Carson was quality.
He was very good. The stalling tactics and stuff were very cool. So you've kind of got these two things going on. You've basically got Ahsoka sort of down and fighting her way out of her memories, or whatever you want to call it, and then the gang topside basically trying to find her in the ocean. So you get some good X-wing and the Ghost, doing some little cuttings across the sea, which was quite cool. Good to see the Ghost in action.
I loved the X-wings flying over the water. I thought that was a really beautiful shot, and I thought it looked really, really good. It's always cool to see X-wings flying in atmosphere, and I thought it looked really good.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bit weird that Hera left Jason back on the cliff, just hanging out on the cliff, and while she was going off searching, she was so hesitant to let him out there in the first place, and then he's like, "Nah."
Yeah, but he's got Chopper looking after him, and he's reaching out with the Force, and you can sort of feel his Force sensitivity growing, and she's realizing that she's going to have to set him on his path or send him off to the skeleton crew.
How old is he supposed to be? Like 11, 12 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So what was he? End of...
I'm just thinking, would I leave Toby hanging out on the cliff there by himself? Chewie, the dog.
Toby, you go to the soccer at Homebush and leave one of those kids at home by himself, so as if you wouldn't.
Yeah,
true.
I think they've got some plans for Jason Syndulla. I think he'll.
He's got something. He's got a big future.
They'll find something to do with him later on. So yeah, look, I think it might have just been that they didn't want to. She would want to break his concentration, or they thought that he was boots on the ground to keep the connection going, to sort of keep track of where she might have been. But yeah, so they do the second flashback, or whatever you want to call it, the Siege of Mandalore. Anakin kind of turns up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember this," and then she kind of addresses the elephant in the room, really, doesn't she? She's just like, "Well, dog, you turn to the dark side," and then we get classic party like it's 2005, yellow eyes, scary looking Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader.
But Darth Vader as Anakin, that was...
Well, it's just, that was at his peak for the 20 minutes that he was actually
at his full use of his limbs.
Yeah.
That was Anakin on lava, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that looked very cool as well.
Did Ahsoka get yellow? I saw her eyes sort of... Did she get a tinge through that as well? I don't know. Like I need to watch it again.
Well, I didn't see that. Gameplay.
I know what you're talking about, and I think I was like wondering whether it was the reflection of the red saber or whether it was a glint that then receded. I don't know.
Because, I mean, she was using dark side powers just 20 minutes before, let's say, force choking and stuff. But like, I'm not saying she's Sith eyes or whatever, but there was a definite something there. But it was good that she sort of used that maneuver she's used twice now against Maul when having no lightsaber, and then in that Tales of the Jedi, is it? Yeah.
To sort of disarm him.
Disarm, yeah.
So here's a question for you, Matt. Did he have Vader's saber?
Yes.
Or did he have his saber? Did he have Vader's Star Wars regular saber, or did he just have his blue saber with the red?
No, he had two. So he had Anakin's saber first, and then it changed to the one with the black on the hilt and everything.
So that was Vader's. He actually had Vader's saber.
That was definitely Vader's saber.
Okay, well there you go.
I've got saber blindness. I can never tell the difference.
Yeah, I never look.
I'll go get them right now if you want.
It's right.
Exhibit A, Exhibit B.
They're literally right there. I could.
No, do it. Let's do it. We've got enough guests. We've got enough guests we can cover for your absence, Matt.
Yeah.
Not that anybody
will
see.
That's why at the end of Rise of Skywalker, I still have no idea if either Ben or Rey has whose lightsaber, because they both have blue
blades.
Blades.
What's layers? It's layers and
layers and blue. Layers and
the Skywalker
Anakin's
one. Yeah.
and Skywalker one. Yeah, but I don't know who has who. I think Ben has layers, but I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
I have no idea.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. Teach me.
Okay. So for the people at home,
nobody listening can see it apart from us.
Okay,
that's all right.
The silver and the black and the
most impractical. It's most impractical lightsaber because it's just got nowhere natural to hold for people at home.
Well, it does because you put it on the little.
No. I just mean there's a grip. But anyway, this is
the OG
podcasting.
And then, yeah. This one's on the fritz. But, so you can see the difference. So this one and this one, it has the black here and there. Very similar on the bottom.
Yeah, so basically on the end, it's got a black bit on the end that the other one doesn't.
Just
still goes ahead with a very impractical design. They got way more practical by Return of the Jedi, where there's not a big sort of square bit sticking out the side where you want to put your hand. But, so effectively, yeah, she does. They grapple, and she's fighting Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader in his prime, and she manages to get the lightsaber off him and says, "Hey, I ain't gonna kill you, mate. I choose to live."
That line.
You give me no new information.
It doesn't have to give you information. You can't get information from your memories. New information, anyway.
I was hoping she was going to say, "I choose life." Choose life like the shirt.
Maybe. What if she said, "Ahsoka lives"? Wouldn't that have been cheesy?
Choose life.
So
choose Luke.
Yeah, choose Luke. Yeah, the classic T-shirts. Probably still. I think those ones never got pulled, so they go on TeePublic. You can download.
Still
one
got
of
the
those.
hoodie.
Yeah, there you go. So she basically overcomes her demons. She chooses to let go of her angst about and guilt about Anakin, and the water starts rising, and she gets back. She's sort of in the water, I guess. She was always just sort of slightly under the water. Was she just brought back into the water? Was she under there the whole time? Who really knows?
I don't think she was ever in the water till the last seconds. She wasn't sitting there drowning there in a memory.
Well, do you think that this is all happening while she was falling?
She fell off the cliff into the world between worlds. Then How?
Yeah.
How what?
Did she
I
get
don't think
into the
this-
world between worlds? Because there's got to be like some kind of portal or someone pull her into it.
Was she in the world between worlds though? Because there were no doors.
No, I don't think so. I think
She was in a hazy Star Warsy Jedi memory thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
while
see, maybe
she
it
was
wasn't even
between
the
life.
world between
See,
worlds.
I don't know whether it
because
was either because there was no entry point, outry point. It was more like the creepy cave, like you said. It was more
Well,
like in the
sorry,
mind.
what was the entry point? Maybe it was the hyperspace coordinates to the all that stuff was enough to open. It doesn't have to be, the coins of Mortis opening the door. There's more than one entry point.
Yeah, like fell not like because Ezra got into one, but it took a few things and the loft walls and things. But
Because she wasn't pulled in by Anakin. It's not like Anakin pulled her in and then pushed her out. It was all in her head.
I know, but she may have just enough cosmic force magic happening.
But he makes a
Well,
point of
it
saying,
doesn't
"Hey,
have to be that.
The whole point of saying, but she
She's
said, "Where am I?"
also-
She said that you lost a fight, so you're basically facing death now. So you've got a choice. Where you can
Her
basically.
spirit is protected by the daughter. She, she lost the fight. She's supposed to die. Who knows? She's
I just think she was just in that bit between life and death. So it's just her brain processing that, and she has been in the world between worlds before. So
where was she
that's one
physically for
reason
that
why
last 20 minutes? Then
That's what I'm saying.
No,
She's in the water.
She wasn't in the water.
just floating at the top.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head
So whether
down or
she
head
was,
up?
she was. Well, that's the whole point. Is she holding her breath? Is she just unconscious and she can just survive for that long? She's dying. She's
meditating.
She's literally dying or meditating, or she's in, whatever, in shock or whatever. She's been knocked unconscious, whatever she's done in that water. And this is the way that she chooses whether she sinks at the bottom and dies, or whether she basically floats at the top and lives. And this is how she processes it with a manifestation of her master, of showing her that there's things to live for and don't give in, and battle your demons and call your mum and put the rubbish out and do all of those things. And get
Actually,
ready
it's
to
bin night.
take the fight.
It is midnight. Thank you.
Well, ours is.
It's also my bin night.
Is it? Oh, mine's
Spooky.
mine's Sunday night. So.
It's very Babylon 5. I'm loving it.
So effectively, she gets that they find her. She floats to the surface, or she's got enough basic force. She's come through enough to be detected where they can get her coordinates rather than she's just in the water. So I think basically her consciousness comes up to a point where they can. Was it Chopper who found her, or she gets close enough to the surface where they can find her?
No, the
I
X-Men
did
part
like that
found
sequence of them dragging out of the water. I thought that was quite cool with the lights. Just the way that was done was cool. And she comes up and like you said, she wakes up in the ship a day later with terrifyingly without a head
with the very enlarged forehead.
Yeah.
But everything looked whiter. Like, did she actually get whiter?
It did. She looked like she went grey, like in a second, but it was very odd.
She just
But
lifted
then there was
the
less
veil
blue
around.
in her. What do you call them?
She just lifted the veil of.
There seems
whatever
like there's
over
less
her.
blue in her. What do you call them? I don't know.
Lecus.
I mean,
Maybe
There you
that's
go,
from
Leckers.
lack of oxygen. That she's got to replenish the oxygen within her body to get all the colours back to normal.
I mean, we've talked about Ahsoka's portrayal in this show and how she seemed more serious and less joyful than she was previously, or in the cartoons, or in other things like that. And she definitely seemed much happier in the tail end of this episode. Has she just lifted the veil of the thing that was weighing her down all this time, and now she's just basically like, you know what, I can put this thing that's been bugging me for all this time away, and I can go out and smell the roses a little bit.
It definitely seems like there's a weight lifted off her. Like she she went into the space whales, or we haven't got to that yet, but she just seemed to like not care where she was going. Let's just
she'd been just going enjoying things a little bit more, didn't
go
she?
with the flow, basically.
Did she witness? I can't remember. She didn't see Sabine hand over the map, though, did she? Was she already off the cliff by then?
Force memorize it by.
That's right. Yeah.
I know, but she so she knows that she did it.
Yeah.
She's like, ugh, it's bloody.
No. She didn't know that she did because Balin striked her off the mountain and then corrupted Sabine, so she had no idea.
Yeah, but she finds out afterwards. She does the memory.
Oh yeah, so
So she's got that information now. Yep. So effectively, the Republic turn up. And they basically want to arrest, bring Hera in because she's gone rogue. I don't know. You know, they should have known who they were dealing with, really. But Carson goes out there and kinds the stalls, which was quite cute. He's just kind of going on about how he can't let them past or something, which was, I
would have thought Mon Mothma, my friend Mon Mothma, would have sort of let the rebel side of it through and not get too fussed about policy and procedure. But
again, Mon Mothma is kind of. She needs to take a few leaves out of the Emperor's book and just be like, you know what, this is just happening, all right?
I'm the Chancellor, bitch.
Power's getting to her head, I think. I don't know.
I don't think it's getting it to her head enough. She needs to be putting her foot down more and just going like, you know what, stuff y'all. She's just going to do it, and then we'll deal with the consequences later.
I can't exactly remember the timeline, but with the Aftermath books, she wasn't well during this part, and she was, very unwell, and so all the stresses of the Senate and all the years were pressing on her, and so she just wasn't coping. And I can see that, all the Senate now and all the demands, she's trying not to be the Emperor, but people are just
rubbing it. She's like, man, I want to get back to a war where I can relax.
Bogging her down in politics and committees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a lot of that going on. So,
but I wonder if she. I wonder if now she still has this sort of shadow personality like she does in the, in Andor, where like she's hiding something. She probably has an alter ego. Or
she doesn't need to do that anymore. The Empire's gone.
No, but is she the Shadow Warrior Turbo in this? Maybe it's another misdirection.
I don't know. I'm just
the Phantom Menace.
Maybe she gets her neck out more after hours for you, Turbo.
Maybe she spends a few hours trying on a bunch of lovely silk scarves.
Maybe she does only necks or something. Some sort of
no. What I'm saying is, maybe not now, but maybe down 10 years down the track or whatever, when the New Republic starts to morph into too much bureaucracy, maybe she'll start to realize we're being the Empire again, and then sort of branch off into some other.
I mean, that's actually what Leia does, isn't it? That she's just gone. Yeah. You guys have just gone stop your own butt. I've got to start my own resistance because
that's essentially what happens in the sequels, right?
Yeah, I can't get any official mandate to get out there and stop people. So,
and in my headcanon, I think Mon Mothma starts that again. So,
no doubt we'll all see it in the cinemas in 2028 or whatever it's going to be.
Pay your riders.
Yep.
Yep.
So effectively, they need to find a way to excuse me, find out where Sabine's gone, and the good old space whales, the Purgles, have come to the forefront, as we sort of suspected that they would play a part in this. And it wasn't my theory that they would sort of strap the ship to a couple of whales and fly off, but they just flew into its mouth.
No, it was always going to be inside the mouth, surely. Moby Dick, all that sort of stuff. But
yep.
Yeah.
Did you find it weird?
Pinocchio.
Did you find it strange that they could just hover? Like, I just kind of expected that, like if a creature, I mean, maybe I'm showing my ignorance here, but normally if a bird has to sort of be going forward in order to stay up most of the time, unless they
hover.
But they hover. They have to keep flapping though, don't they?
Yeah, but
those tentacles, mate, they're moving quick.
Are they? They kind of is it kind of like treading water? Is that what they're kind of doing?
It's space whales. There's no logic behind it.
There's no logic.
There is literally there cannot
gravitational energy in their tails. That'll do.
Anti-grav whales.
Yep. Fair enough. So Ahsoka flies right up to one of the big ones and gets out on the ship. as before.
In her sexy white outfit now. She's got a costume upgrade.
Rocking
She's got
some
this new...
very cool fingerless gloves, I thought, as well, which was quite a good look. So this is her Gandalf the White kind of phase.
era.
Yeah, surely.
It's definitely her Gandalf era.
Yeah.
Back to the Space Whales. I don't know if you talked about it before, but in universe they're called star whales. Which was it last episode or the one before? And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that
They
was
gotta be
my
space
reaction.
whales.
Like, come on.
Star whales named Purgles.
Just give in to the fan name, which was Space Whales, and call them Space Whales.
Does anyone remember the trolling and backlash that the Space Whales got in season 2 of Rebels when they came out? They were saying this is junk, this is filler, this is absolute waste of my time, and now it's like key plot point. Like, it's so good.
I didn't have any strong reactions to Rebels. I just watched and went, whatever. I'll just move on.
Yeah, I think I was kind of the same. But obviously they've become pivotal in this, and Ahsoka flies the ship in, and they basically just hope that they're going to take them where they need to go. And I did like the idea that they all sort of got in on the act and they left the planet and flew out and kind of brushed past the fleet, which was quite nice. They sort of moved the fleet out of the way and everyone just sort of slowly meandered around each other, which was quite pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Did anyone else think the whale's mouth looked like, a car wash?
With the little...
It had bristles.
Yeah.
Bristles, yeah.
Is that what whales have inside their mouths?
Well, for krill. Yeah, that's how they catch krill.
Yep. Space krill.
Wonder what they're catching in space.
Star krill.
Anatomically correct space whales. Filoni is a god. He doesn't spare the details. He's got a whale guy for sure.
He's got a whale guy. Just got to call my whale guy. So
Same whale guy who was on Star Trek 4.
Oh yeah. So where are we going from here? Matt, you didn't get your boy. You haven't got your blue makeup on this week.
Not this
Jimmy
week.
Dice was sending out some very ill-advised preemptive tweets before the episode started, and I had to do. I don't tweet spoilers. That's another whole discussion. But I was I had to stop myself from going, dude, just cool your jets, mate. It's not going to quite happen this week. Did you feel disappointed that he didn't show up? Did you think that was going to be the sting at the end?
I thought possibly, but well, I just once you saw the in the whale's mouth and the hyperspace, I was like, and I was content. But I'm also thinking now, like, we only have 3 episodes left, and is she going? Is she going to find Thrawn next week? Like, this is also, I have no idea where I'm going. It's better than going nowhere. Like this could. She might need 2 or 3 episodes just to find Thrawn. Like, we may not get. I'm thinking we might not even get him. I'll put my order of blue paint on hold till the final episode, and we're going to be delving into this in season 2.
Well, I was just going to say, it feels like the payoff or the success, whatever the success is at the end of this, as in the successful mission, is the rescuing of Sabine and maybe Ezra. But I feel like that's the achievement at the end of this. I don't think it's stopping Thrawn. I don't think it's stopping that whole plan. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's successfully
getting there.
Sabine. Well, I think they'll get there, but I think getting Sabine back in one piece and maybe Ezra is basically all you're going to get
will
this
Thrawn
season.
come back as well, right?
Yeah, but that could just be the dung dong at the end, or who knows? I don't think they're going to blow up the ring and leave them stranded there or something like that. I think it'll be they manage to get away, and then they've got to get ready for the rest of it.
I don't see them wrapping it up in 3 episodes. Like, there's so much stuff to play out. It's going to be in Mando season 4.5. Or Book of Boba Fett season 2.
Do you think they'll come back on the hyperspace ring or in the space whales? Because the map's crushed, but I guess they just reverse the coordinates. I guess.
Why do you need the map if you can just hitch a ride with a Purgle?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's assuming it goes back where it goes. But
four episodes of building the hyperspace rings. We'll just take the Purgles. Don't worry.
Well, I guess the question is about the hyperspace ring. Is that do you need one that big in order to get that far, or do you need one that big to bring back what you need to bring back?
And I guess the only thing is, like, only a Jedi can converse with the space whale and connect, cosmically enough to sort of give the Uber order in. So
maybe they're just like, hey man, we're not Uber. Like, we'll give you this one. But we're not just hanging around to take you back and forth between places. You get one trip, and that's what you get, and then now you're on your own.
Maybe Thrawn will come back as a stowaway in their ship somewhere, like underneath.
Well, I think somebody's going to eat it. I mean, as far as the baddies go, Balin is the obvious one who's going to eat it, obviously, because they can't bring him back because Ray Winston's no longer with us.
Well,
so he feels like, as far as who's got to go down as part of the collateral damage of this being a somewhat successful mission.
But they wouldn't know because, well,
they've already shot it. I know, but
he might have to be recast. He's such a good character, you'd have to.
Well, we'll just see where he ends up, I suppose.
I should get our mate Andy Bell to...
He can pull it off. He's got the... That's true. Well, I always keep thinking the older I get and the greyer I get, I go, like, I'm only a couple of years away from a George Lucas cosplay. The sort of older, greyer and fatter that I get is just eventually... I'll just be able to put a flannel shirt on and walk around at Celebration like those blokes.
For those that don't know, Andy Bell's a good mate of the many podcasts, but we caught up with him in London. Now, when I see him, I think of Balin. I think he'd do a good cosplay.
He'd be up for that.
So.
I'm sure he's listening. Hello, Andy, if you're listening. He was on a few weeks ago, but
Andy.
I think he's sunning himself on a beach or somewhere. Or
Turbo's been clearly listening to all the pods.
Those inside references. So, yeah, I think they'll get there. We spoke about this last week. Did they basically jump out of hyperspace and they're just there waiting? Have they just been waiting for contact? But they're also at least a day behind, 2 days behind them. They've already taken off. There's been at least one rotation where Ahsoka was unconscious and probably another half a day or whatever it was, however long it took to rescue her. So they're a good sort of...
what's a day when you're traveling hyperspace anyway, really?
Oh, I know, but it just means that they'll be...
So hyperspace through galaxies as well.
But they're also not expecting to be followed, so there's also that as well. So depending, I think should we just jump? Do you think we'll just jump and we'll be straight onto what those guys got up to? But who knows? How do you want to see Thrawn revealed, Matt? Do you want it to be like a slow reveal, or just cut to the first thing and he's just there, or opening a door and he's just sitting in his chair with his paintings?
I have a feeling he'll be aboard the hyperspace ring, and there'll be like objects approaching, and it'll be all the Purgles are coming through, and that's him walking down the hallway of the hyperspace ring to see what's going on, and then
you said I think
it's
like
blue time
in the back of his head first. He'll walk down, look at the whales, and then he'll turn around, look at the camera. He'll look straight down.
I actually think they'll
break the fourth
cut
wall
right
down the
to
camera.
like I think they'll just pick up with Sabine, as in like they're coming through hyperspace and they come out, and she just looks out the window and there's just like a half wrecked Star Destroyer floating in space, and they kind of catch up with that side of it. But maybe I'm wrong. I guess we'll find out next week. Who's directing next week? It's not. Is Filoni done now? Is he doing the finale, or has he done all these directings?
I think he's out.
I think he did 1 and 5. Is that right?
1 and 5.
Yep.
Let me just get it for you.
So one thing we haven't mentioned is the score and the sound design. I think that's perfect. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the sound.
He's killing it. Kevin
Lots of little callbacks.
OG with a little bit of extra mayo on it as well. Like it's so good. So next week is Jennifer Getzinger.
Okay.
Next after that is Geeta Patel. Oh, she did House of Dragon. Nice. And then number 8, we're finishing with Rick Famuyiwa. Mando's coming back that week for sure.
He hasn't put a foot wrong on any of his episodes, so that'll be good.
Oh, are you sure?
Did he do the finale of Mando season 3?
director of 4 episodes. Oh, he did quite a lot this season, though. So,
Well, it wasn't really the direction that was the problem, but anyway. So
if he did the Lizzo episode, I'm going to.
No, that was BDH.
Yeah, that was Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So look, I think very good episode. Very, very good. I know you guys loved it. I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was perfect, but hey, great to have Anakin Skywalker back. Great to see Hayden Christensen back. Great to see some live action Clone Wars stuff. I know, Matt, you've declared it the greatest Star Wars Disney thing that's happened.
Disney's finest hour in a long time.
Besides Andor.
I thought there'd be a little bit more angst this episode. I'm glad that everyone's...
And The Last Jedi.
And everybody's, pretty happy, which is good. We want people to be happy.
You know, like, Turbo, you love this analogy. Star Wars pizza. This is good pizza. Yep. I would call Andor lobster bisque because it's very rich and delicious and really good. And you just don't compare. It's not the same. It's different stuff.
Lobster.
I like lobster bisque.
All right.
I like lobster.
Well, because Andor's in it. Because of Cassian. We'll call it birria tacos then.
What's the Star Wars with like pineapple on it on pizza?
That would be Book of Boba Fett.
I like pineapple on pizza.
The pineapple of the mods.
That's not bad, actually. Yeah, look,
I'm here a week.
It's pretty amazing that we get to see this sort of stuff on a TV show, really. I think you got to get a little perspective on this stuff, and I think the show's been really good. I think it's been really focused. It's got a really good plot. I think it's way better than some of the stuff we've had come just before it. But I want to see what happens next. I want to see where this all pays off.
I like how there's no side quests. It's kind of just single focus, single story.
Yeah.
Where's the monster of the week? I'm getting itchy. Actually, we're space whales. Actually, I'm okay.
But they didn't eat anybody.
Where was the side mission?
So, closing thoughts here before we send this one off. Catherine, any closing thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, it's good overall. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. I think obviously Andor is beyond anything, but so far I think it's up there with me with like Mando season 1.
It's coming in the rear mirror for Andor. Just watch yourself, Kneen. There's 3 episodes to go.
I think
it's coming hard.
I think they've played their hand, though, which is also sort of good because it means the next 3 episodes they can focus back on the story and make that soar. Like, let Dave have his play in his sandbox. Let him, do all the things he's been cooking up for years and dreaming about. All right, Matt, we've already heard from you. Turbo.
Can I just add, an addendum? I just got a text from Matt Frost, literally 10 seconds ago.
Oh, right, yep.
Apart from the cool whales, what the fuck was that?
Well, it's nice that Matt can bring us back all down to earth, and
absolute cosmic wonderfulness.
What he said.
Is that your reply?
Oh, that's your reply. I'm like, he did not write that.
That's a reply. No, yeah. No, look, I loved it. I'm well fan serviced, and I just enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying. My family's enjoying it. That's all I need.
The dog's enjoying it.
No, the dog hates it.
The dog's not enjoying it.
The dog is not enjoying it.
He's not enjoying it. No,
he needs more. He's like, more Wookiees, please. What is this? Where's the
more
Wookiees? Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you for coming on, guys. I love getting a full deck on here. Turbo, you're welcome back anytime, mate. Anytime you can make the call, just come on in. We're always always glad to have you join in, and who knows what's going to happen next week.
You.
But we'll sign off there. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Turbo.
Thank you, Josh.
5-star reviews. Make it happen.
Yeah, if you could do that.
I choose to live.
Not for that episode.
Choose life.
Ahsoka lives. Woo!
Bye, guys.
Better than Andor. Woo!
Bye.
Where's the bye?
Bye.
Bye.